Developing news now on a terror investigation we've been tracking for weeks.
This afternoon, a suspected homegrown terrorist from Warwick was arraigned on charges that he conspired to support ISIS.
Nicholas Rovinski and another suspect, David Wright, are accused of plotting with a third man to kill Americans. That third man, Osama Rahim, was shot and killed by police in Boston.
Eyewitness News reporter Jared Pleiner is live at federal court in Boston with the developing details.
Mike Shannon, good evening. Both Nicholas Rovinski and David Wright appearing in orange jumpsuits, and the size differential is simply amazing. David Wright, quite a large man. Nicholas Rovinski, very slight. The charges, equally serious.
Suck it!
After the Warwick man implicated in this alleged terror plot, 24-year-old Nicholas Rovinski pleaded not guilty Friday to conspiring to support ISIS, along with accused co-conspirator 25-year-old David Wright of Everett, Massachusetts. Family emerged from Boston federal court. It's not known who's tied to Wright and who's tied to his uncle Osama Rahim, shot and killed by police, the accused third conspirator. The women, stoic and linking arms, had no comment, nor did these two women. One cried in court. They quickly covered their faces with a sweater.
I'm not speaking. I have no comment.
It's alleged Rovinski, a graduate of Pilgrim High School, and the other two plotted to behead Americans, including police officers. All allegedly met on a Warwick beach May 31st for more than 2 hours to discuss their plans. Prosecutors say Rahim had even purchased 3 large knives online. Authorities staked out the Rovinski home on Aspinett Drive 4 days before the FBI arrested him last week. Both Rovinski and Wright remain held without bail, pending a July court date. And coming up at 6, a closer look at what grand jurors signed off on in their indictment. Live in Boston tonight with the Mobile Newsroom, I'm Jared Pleiner, Eyewitness News.
Now we are tracking new developments in the terror investigation we've been tracking for weeks. The Warwick man accused of conspiring to support ISIS was back in court today. Nicholas Rovinski and another suspect, David Wright, both entered their pleas. New at 6 tonight, a look at the evidence in the grand jury indictment. Now the Pinpoint News Tracker takes you to federal court in Boston. That's where our Eyewitness News reporter Jared Pleiner is now live. Jared?
Mike, good evening. Both men appear to be communicating with their lawyers, following directions. They, of course, remain held without bail. But this case now touches 2 New England states and, of course, the fears of many: homegrown terrorism. Family members of either 25-year-old David Wright or the now deceased 26-year-old Osama Rahim, nephew and uncle, respectively, emerging from court Friday without comment. This as Wright and 24-year-old Rhode Islander Nicholas Rovinski pleaded not guilty to conspiring to support ISIS. We also saw one of these women crying in court. They would not tell us if they're tied to Rovinski, Wright, or Rahim. Rahim killed by police in early June, ratcheting up the case of a trio accused of plotting to behead police. Grand jurors charged in their indictment just handed up. Rahim purchased 3 knives ranging in length from 13 to 15 inches on Amazon.com. A few days later, on May 31st, Wright, Rovinski, and Rahim met for more than 2 hours on a secluded beach in Rhode Island. They agreed not to share information about their plans with anyone who had not pledged allegiance or given bayat to ISIL. Wright, Rovinski, and Rahim all understood that law enforcement was investigating persons in the United States that supported ISIL and that their actions would similarly be investigated. And David Wright is also charged with obstructing, conspiring to obstruct justice as well. On top of that, 2 separate counts for allegedly telling Rahim to destroy his smartphone and to completely wipe his computer. Live in Boston tonight with the Mobile Newsroom, I'm Jared Pleiner, Eyewitness News.